straight away. And I got the notification as well. And good evening and good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. This is episode 52 of Endless Banter. Welcome. We had a week off. I've had an incident, so I'm sorry that we've not been here. Paul, it says I'm adding you on Facebook, but I don't know what it is. I hope we're all doing really well. I do apologise that last show wasn't on. It was the year episode last week, but obviously I couldn't take part in that because I had a bit of an accident. But anyways, I hope we're all good.
Add me again, Tom.
Let's have it do it. Did it not? Did it say?
No, because I never had my phone. I had my phone normal.
All right, hold on. Oh, it's gone again. Invite. And what am I talking about? I didn't have an accident. Oh, it's Poppy's birthday. I had an accident this fucking weekend. That's how mad my mind is. That's how mad my mind is at the minute. I didn't have an accident at the weekend. I had an accident at the weekend. I didn't have an accident last week. It was Poppy's birthday. That's why we didn't do a live. What am I talking about? I'm all over the place. I've invited you again, Paul.
Well, for some reason, my auto rotate was off. 1 second.
So let me just get the chat up. If you are live on Facebook, good evening, everybody. Evening to everybody in YouTube world. Happy anniversary, guys. Woo-woo. 1 year, 1 year. Let's get Paul in.
Have you got me a cake and shit?
Have I got you a cake? To be honest, I think it'd be shit once it got there, you know what I mean? I think it'd be a pile of shit once I got there.
Let me just see if I can...
Let's see if it's echoing.
Well, for some reason, it won't let me turn my volume all the way down.
It's not, but it's not echoing out. I'd be able to wear it through the microphone. It's not echoing on mine.
No.
Oh, I'll say that and it does. I'll say that and it starts picking it up.
Motherfucker.
Oh, well, we'll try it. We'll try it. Tom, get the new password off the neighbour. You've got a stable connection tonight. No, I just think people are absolutely raping it at the house. But we'll try do Facebook and we'll try do YouTube. If it starts echoing a lot, please tell us and then we'll just cut it off and go to YouTube.
I've only got once. I can only find one set of headphones in the house.
It's fine. As I say, if it echoes a lot, we'll just cut it off. So, Paul, I've not seen you or spoke to you. Well, I've spoke to you, but I haven't seen you in a week's time. How's your week been? What are you vaping? What you have for tea? How are you feeling? Are you feeling a lot better? Let's have a bit of an update.
Yeah, not too bad. I'm just trying to see if I can do something with my case to make some less noise coming out of my speaker. Yeah, I feel a bit better. I felt like I had a decent week. Doctor signed me off for 2 more weeks when I went back to the doctors on Monday. And then today I've had a funky pain again, but I haven't had no painkiller since yesterday afternoon. So
in your ribs or your lungs? What do you think it is?
In my side, I think it's probably my ribs. Maybe I don't know. To be fair, mate, I'm really not sure. Fuck knows. Maybe I'm just fucking scrap. That's how I feel, man. 1 second. It's really like professional, this fucking shit, isn't it? I'm going to make a speaker blocker with a wet wipe.
What we want to see is we're going to see how dry it is right in the show. Good evening, everybody on Facebook. Good evening, everybody on YouTube. I hope everybody's well. So what have you had for tea, Paul?
I had spaghetti bolognese, which I made. I made tea for us all.
Did you have garlic bread and cheese?
I didn't. I didn't make garlic bread because I couldn't be asked.
But did you lacquer it with cheese?
I don't like cheese, but the girls had cheese.
I love cheese. It's one of my faves. It's one of my faves.
You know what I like? I love cheese, but I don't like cheese. I don't like cheese on shit.
Really? Maybe it's because it's too bigly, massively grated. I can't eat cheese on stuff unless it's like the fine grain. I can't do big chunky grains. It's got to be fine grain.
I'm having a fucking mare right here.
We've never been professional on banter from day one. We're not changing it. We always have a laugh. That's what it's about. It's not taking it too serious.
My phone holder, which is an extension lead, which I use to keep my Mac charged, normally just try again. I'll clip the phone into my case.
Sounds all right though.
Huh?
Don't seem to be much echo. Well, no. as soon as I say there's no echo, there's echo.
If I move my phone a little bit away from the Mac, maybe that's a little bit better.
Let me speak. Hello, hello. Yeah, it's echoing just a tiny bit. We'll get through it. If not, I fucking love garlic bread. I only eat cheese on pizza. So you eat cheese on spaghetti and stuff like that. That is where it's at.
I eat cheese on pizza. I like cheese on toast. Cheese on toast is probably one of my favourite, snacky type foods in the whole world.
Do you eat it with any sauce?
Brown sauce.
Brown.
I like it with brown. You know what? I like it with a bit of Worcester sauce on, but I actually just like, sometimes I'll just have a slice with no sauce on it. But I like my cheese burnt. Not
really?
burnt black, like crispy, like cook it. I like it like that. But then I don't really like them melted. I don't like cheese and potato pie, or I don't like. No. I don't like anything that's got melted cheese in
it. Like cheesy chips. This is going to be a big debate. I like cheesy chips, right? But my cheese has not got to be melted. I hate it melted. With cheesy chips, it's got to be normal cheese, normal grated cheese, not melted cheese.
I don't like cheesy chips.
I reckon you're grating it wrong. I reckon you're not using the fine grate. If you use the fine grate on your cheesy chips, you'd fucking love it. I'm telling you. That's why I'm a fat fucker, because I like my cheese piled on my chips. But it can't be melted. It can not be melted at all. I've just had smoked cheese on a meat feast pizza. Smoked cheese. Yeah, opposite. I cannot have cheesy chips with melted cheese. Not a chance. I'm hungry now. Pineapple pizza and pineapple fritters. Pineapple on a pizza, yes or no, Paul?
Always.
Pineapple on a pizza.
So I like pineapple on a pizza, regardless of what's on the pizza.
I don't like. I can't eat pineapple on its own. I can eat it on a pizza, but I can't eat it on its own. It gives me bad indigestion.
It's supposed to make your spunk taste really nice, isn't it?
I've got diabetes. I'm all good on that in that
game. Tom's shotting out fucking liquid fucking Skittles.
Telling you, I don't need no pineapple. I don't need no pineapple. I'm telling you straight. Oh, so before we go into anything, because I don't think we really spoke about it last week. Have you got any information that you can give out about the dirtier? I know you've posted a few pictures last week, but we didn't get to speak about it. But is there any information you can give out apart from the information you've put out? Yeah.
On the dirty mod. Let me just delete the sound on the Facebook Live. Yeah, I mean, it's I posted a picture of the top cap, which is an AV style type top cap that's adjustable. So I'm just literally agreed the design. I'll go and get the prototypes actually, Tom. Bear with me for 1 second.
No worries, no stress. You see, I'm stressing Paul out for you lot, so you can see this mod. Stressing Paul out. I want you to see it. I know there's been some changes. I'm obviously not going to let you know about that until we get the revised prototype in, but I know Paul's got the prototype. I'm going to put it on full screen on YouTube. You don't need to see me. You need to see them mods. I'll put you on full screen on YouTube because you don't need to see me when you're looking.
I'm not. So this is the first prototype. So it's similar to the Dirty, but it's got a different engraving. I don't know if you can see that or not.
Yeah, you can.
But actually, the engraving's fucking fire on them. And when I seen the pictures, when Tash sent me the pictures from the shop, I don't know if you can see the ring.
Make sure you use both phones, mute your phone as well, so people on Facebook can see.
I don't know if you can see the ring around the outside of the engraving, which makes it look like I actually thought that was the button. So someone actually commented saying, "Oh, will it have the locking switch on it when it comes?" And I says, "Yeah." And Tasha messaged me, said it has got it on there. So the button is four guided instead of 3.
And your other screen as well.
4 guided on the button, and then on that one there, you can just see between the knurled hybrid and the mod, there's a 5mm extension. I don't know whether that's picking that up on there. You can see. So that was basically, we'll give you an extra 5mm for running stack 21700. The stack is just running what a battery 2650s. So that's running 2650. So that's running with no extensions on there. That's just the standard mod, the stack. That's running 2650s. But I decided after I had this for about a week that we should just have an adjustable top cap. And that way then, because 26 650s are actually over 650. They're about 66.5mm, which isn't a lot, but an extra 1.5 mm onto the firing length of the pin. You know what I mean? It just makes everything slightly fucking awkward. The 2650s and the 18650s, and I've used VCT5As just to piss about with, are as close as fuck it, same length. But a 26-650 is slightly longer, which I was always aware of, which is why when you've got an old Dirty and you're running it stacked, it is a really, really short throw. So on this one, what we've done is, I did post a picture of the top cap. We're going to take the extra, because what this kit was designed to come with was a 5mm extension, a 10mm extension, and then a 67mm extension. The 67mm extension is for another battery plus a battery spacer. So if you're running a single mod, you just have your mod normal standard 2650, 18650, or 26650. Don't need no extension. Use a 21700 or a 2700. Put 5mm extension on. Put the hybrid on there. You've got 5mm longer in the length for the 70mm battery. And then when you stack that, you need 10mm. So the kit actually came with a 67mm extension, a 5mm extension, and a 10mm extension.
Fucking hell.
What I've
so
done
you've just done that.
We've got rid of the 2 smaller extensions and just done an adjustable top cap, which actually extends out by 12mm, which is more than enough that's needed to double stack it.
It's a lot easier than having the 3 different parts in it, so you can.
The other thing for me is it also means that you can set your throw where you like it, and then you're adjusting from the top, so your throw is always going to be the same. So if you want a really short throw, you can wind the dowel in all the way and just wind the top cap in further. If you want a longer throw, you can wind the top cap out a touch and adjust your dowel in and get your throw where you want it, regardless of what battery you're using. So that's my thoughts behind it. Now on the RDA, because China's fucking stupid, the slots and the holes are both on the outside. So that's currently running slots. Then if I turn the airflow control around, the slots are shut, the holes are open. So actually on the finished product,
show YouTube as well.
So holes are open, slots are shut. Let me just go back to the Hangout screen because of the lag. The deck we've gone for just 2 holes. And again, we've slightly modified the deck on the finished piece just to make the hole slightly bigger. There's a 10 mil centers between the inside holes, which is more than ample for most, even fused Claptons or flats or whatever. And instead of having the holes and the slots on the outside of the RDA, and I've got 2 mods so I can do this at the same time. Actually, the holes and the slots will be on the AFC, so you just have slots on the outside edge of the RDA. That RDA is about 28 mil from the bottom to the top. The actual finished one will be 22.5. The actual body of the RDA, excluding the AFC, will be 18 mil, so it's actually 3 mil shorter than a Slammen 34.
Oh, nice.
So
much closer to the coil, so it's a lot. Would you say there's increased flavour on that, or would you say around about the same?
To be fair, I've not used the shorter one. I measured it all up. The flavour on this one's quality, but I know the flavour will be better on a shorter RDA for sure. And they actually done it slightly long. I think we settled at 20 mil, which was the same, or just slightly. The Slammen 24 was about 21.5 mil for the actual sleeve. We went down to 20 mil. Actually, when it come, the post was slightly lower than I expected, which means if the posts are lower, everything can come down.
Yeah,
closer.
And what about the threading on the stack?
Mate, I'm not joking. Look, one of the things that we've done is the threading on this is just next level. If anyone buys one of these and breaks the threads, you're mad. So they come with various plastic tubes. That's obviously got a 21700 in it. It's got a 30T in there. That's the switch threading. Don't know if you can see that clearly on there or not. Whether it's focused or not, or
you can tell it's chunky. Oh yeah.
But the threading on the top is
proper.
And then you can sort of see the thickness of the
body on the walls on that. It's madness.
It's got a hybrid top cap similar to a Emperor and a Emmy. So it's an external top cap, which I can't get off. But yeah, it's the same in essence, same style. So it's actually external. Like I said, the switch is 4-guided on the inside, 3-guided on the. Sorry, 4-guided on the outside, 3-guided on the inside.
That's it. Yeah, that does look fire. Really does look good.
It's all good. I'm actually really pleased with it. It's at this minute in time, it's definitely going to be cheaper than the original Dirty as well. So
for me, this mod itself personally is appealed a lot wider because of the batteries. A lot of people didn't know about 26650s, and then to know for a fact you can run 18650s, 21700s, 2700s, 2650s. You know what is it? It's 5 different batteries you can run in it, can't you?
18650, 2650, 2700, 21700, 26650.
Yeah, 5 different batteries. To me, that will appeal to a lot of people who've already got 18650s and turn around.
If they bring out a 26700, obviously that will take that. If they bring out a 22700, 23700, 24700, 25700, all we've got to do is literally release some new outer sleeves.
Can I see the sleeve that was in the?
Yeah, so I mean, this is the sleeve for 21700. Obviously, you don't need any sleeves for 26650, which is what is in the stack, I think. Because Dave come around the other night, so I think this is running 26650 in the stack. No, it's not actually. So this is running VCT 5As, 18. 18650s.
That's brilliant. Gonna have to come to B2B day now, says Gav. Gav Blake. So the release date for this, fingers crossed, is going to be exposed. Is that right,
mate? It's going to be fucking touchy cloth again, which is just how we roll, isn't
it? That's how we roll. If we're not sweating on Thursday, then we're not doing it. Telling you. So fingers crossed, touch wood.
Yeah, I mean the plan is they've assured me today they'll be here in time for Expo. I'm just haggling the price. I wanted to try and do them for $129.99, which is cheaper. It's cheap as a cleaner set, that is. But I think we're going to be closer to the 150 mark. So I've literally been messaging them up until they've gone to this part, and it's stupid o'clock there at this minute in time. So,
what's the final run that you're going to do for the first run? How many units do you think you're going to do?
200.
Bang on 200.
Yep. Starting at triple or quadruple zero.
Fucking hell.
Which I'll have.
and we are in the discussions of possibly doing a pre-order for these as well, so people can.
No, I think we'll definitely do a pre-order, even if it's only for 50 units, which will mean there'll be 150 available at Expo. Now, I've had loads of people message me saying, "Mate, can I have one? Can I pay you now? I'll pay for it. I'll take it. I'll do." I've never ever done a pre-order until I've paid for the goods and I know it's been shipped. And in fact, we've done a pre-order on the very first mod. It's the only one we've ever pre-ordered, and we've done it on that first mod. But I'd already got the stock in the UK when we actually launched the pre-order. On this one, we're only doing 200. I mean, literally, we was not going to do another dirty mod. I'd said 6 months ago we was not going to do it. We're going to do something completely different. We've sold out of every dirty that we own. I'm trying to source the hybrids for people that have got existing dirty mods. Now I've asked them. No, but I can definitely do this. It just means I've got to possibly send a hybrid to China. They had an issue with their computers and lost the CAD drawings for the original mod.
Right.
So he thinks he knows the thread that was used. I've sent him, I've calipered the hybrid and everything else. So I should have some hybrids coming in. If not, and all he's going to do is send me a few over if they work all well and good, because I'll work on all of them because it was the same thread pattern on aluminium or brass. If not, I'll just send them one. I've got two hybrids that I own, and that's on both of my. I had the quad and the quad stack, and whatever. They've obviously got hybrids on them. So I'll send them a hybrid over so we can get some replicated. Yeah, I wasn't going to do another 34mm mod. And even while I've been designing this, I was like, should we drop it down to 30mm and not go up to 26,650? Just cater for 18,650, 2650, 2700, 21,700. But the reality is the battery life of a stacked 26,650 is
mental.
Nothing else out there that comes anywhere close. The beauty of this is I love 21,700 batteries are the future of mechanical mods. As people know, we were first on the doors with the 2700, and quite frankly, the battery let that mod down, in my opinion. We were probably too early for a 2700. People were skeptical about batteries, and then the 2700A, which is a fire cell, just didn't have the availability at the time.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I see Moochie's reporting the week for the 21732, 35 amp, 3100 mAh or something like that. It's crazy.
Wow.
So even in single, this is running single, and it's running 0.14. Now this might be dry as a fucker because I've got no liquid, but it does, and that's dry as fuck. That is. I'll just end up setting fire to the car. Yeah, for someone that likes a punch, obviously 26,650s do sag, but they've got a higher amp rating, so you could go a bit lower, maybe on a 26,650, which is what I used to do. That says when I'm running a triple or a quad just for shits and giggles, you've got no issue with ramp up or no issue with sagging or whatever. It just does what it's got to do. So It's all well and
Yeah,
good.
exactly. I just want to answer the question of, I believe it was Dave that asked. Dave asked what finish is it going to be, and it's going to be in brass is the first one, isn't it, Paul?
Yeah, so originally we were going to do brass, black chrome, blue rhodium, so a bit like the bluey purple of the Emperor and the Emmy that we've done. The reality is we just could not get them done in time for the plating. So the first one's going to be brass. They'll be serialised, so that as it stands at this minute in time, they'll be serialised on the mod body, but just on the actual mod. The stacking will be plain like it was on the second run of dirties and the third run of dirties. The RDA is going to be completely plain and clear, so there won't be any branding on that whatsoever. And that's because I think you can do too much with them. As I say, the early ones had the endless logos and EM on them and slam them and all the other stuff on there. I don't think we need to do that. As you know,
I feel like we're at the stage where people know what an endless mod is when they see it.
To be fair, it's not even that. I just think, like, when you look at the Emmy mod, there's not one bit of branding on it. We didn't even laser engrave the bottom of the RDA. We just done a straight. We've done it cheap. I can't even remember what the Emmy setup is. 65 quid, something like that. 64.99, 69.99. It's not expensive. That was for the full set. The Emperor, the same. There's no engraving on the Emperor. That's 69.99 or 64.99 for the mod. And it does save us money. I say, like, back in the day when we were doing runs at fucking 2,000, 3,000 and 4,000, it was adding, could have add as much as $8,000 to $10,000 to a mod, or to a run of mods, should I say?
And that money has to go somewhere, doesn't it? At the end of the day,
yeah, it has to pass on. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, what I tried to do with this one is we've gone for the engraving on the switch. We've gone for the engraving on the extra on the lock. We've gone for an engraving on the actual mod body. We're serialising the mod body. We're serialising the RDAs. We're serialising. We've got some nice etching going on the top of the top cap as well, which is something we've not done before. And the top caps will be serialised as well. I think I'm just trying to confirm that and just make sure that is the case. It's weighty, but obviously the thing is, this is a heavy mod. If I said it wasn't, I'll be talking out my arse. But it feels like a chunk. But it's 34 mil. It's machined out. 27 mil is the actual internal hole. So there's a hell of a lot of material come back out of it. You know what I mean? It's not as heavy as you might think looking at it. Although it still is a fair old chunk. But even just having the nil top cap on there, it just looks nice, and it's nice and clean without being too much over the top.
Yeah.
And then I don't know whether that's a good or a bad thing. For me personally, the whole point of the very first clean mod was that I liked something that was just nice and straightforward and smooth and not too much shizzle going on there. And we've sold. I mean, Gav patinaed hundreds of mods for us, and they always sold out. As soon as we got them, they always sold out. Truth of it is, not really my thing. I had one patina that I've still got upstairs somewhere. I had like a bronzy patina. I used to run it with the captains on there and the brass switch set and stuff. And that was more about the colours. Just went with the brass. As far as standard patina is concerned, say for me personally, it's not really my bag. Lots and lots of engraving. Mate, we had the Death Pool mods done, and they sold out on Expo on the Friday. Within the first few hours, every single mod had gone. It's not my thing. I could walk past them and not get excited at all. And actually, people were coming over some people bought 2 and 3 of them mods on the same day, saying, "Oh, I'll have one of each, and I'll have this." And then we done the Venoms and we sold them out, and we've done various bits and pieces with engraving on there. The only one that I genuinely think looked the tits was the Midnight Edition that Nicky's now got, which was a prototype.
Yeah.
And the plan for that mod was for Tim Davies, the genius at Slammer Mods, to hand etch it, and then we were going to have a matte black Cerakote finish on a whole sort of murdered out thing. I didn't want to call it murdered out. I wanted to call it Midnight Edition, just so I'm not copying people and doing. But actually, that was like, there was a bit, the whole of that mod's not engraved. It's just like a sweep down one side with the Midnight Edition in nice script, and it got the hexagons going over the back of it that wasn't in any particular shape. It just looked nice. That's right up more street. And then I was thinking matte black over the writing as well. The depth is enough for it. If you catch it in the light, you'll see the engraving and the Midnight Edition script on there. it just never come to fruition because basically Tim was that busy. He just bought his laser machine and he was like, to be honest, mate, I haven't got time to hand etch them. And we didn't think we'd get the depth with the laser engraver as what we were getting with hand etching them. So I sort of I had that one prototype literally, which Nicky Fraser now owns. And genuinely, I wish I hadn't sold that mod. I wish I should have just kept it, sent it off to the Cerakotas, had it done, and just kept it because it's fire. Now again, there's a chance we can do something on these. Do you know what I mean? We'll see how this sells. It stands at this moment in time. I don't think there's going to be many, if any, left of the 200 by the time we get to the end of Expo. To be honest, if we do a pre-order on it before, so I might only put 50 up for pre-order. Now they won't be posted out until the Monday after Expo. So it's the official launch will be at the Vapor Expo.
Yeah.
Even if you pre-order it, you're not going to be able to come and pick it up off us because for us to take that stock and sort out who's had what and when they got it, etc., etc., etc. If you buy it on pre-order, they'll be dispatched on the Monday. Well, in fact, it would be the Tuesday because I think it's Bank Holiday Monday, so they'll be dispatched on Monday, on the Tuesday. Sorry, following Expo. You cannot buy one, reserve it, and collect it at Expo because we just can't. I just ain't got the resource to manage that. It's a pain in the arse, quite frankly. So, if you want to pre-order one and come and buy one at Expo, so you've got one, feel free to fill your boots and do what you've got to do. So I'm just talking to China now, saying, look, can we maybe do another 300 mods, and we'll do even if it's 100 black, 100 blue, and I'll have 100 back in brass with no etching on them, and we'll do something in the UK with them with different finishes. We've done the purple, green, and blue ones before, which sold really well. Which Dave done, Disco Dave done all the painting and stuff on them. So
yeah, they were lovely them. Oh, I do have to mention something though. It has come up a lot in chat, on Facebook and YouTube. All I see is endless MTL, endless RDA, endless RTA. I know it's been discussed before. Is that something that you are going to do in the future?
No, I'll be completely honest, Tom. I'd say last year we done the Emmy. We dropped the Emmy in February. We dropped the Emperor we actually dropped the Emperor in May at the Expo in May. And actually they got delivered. We didn't even start off on the Friday with them. They got to us about 11 o'clock Friday morning. Tasha went and intercepted them at DHL because they weren't going to release them until after the weekend and all that bullshit. And then for me last year, we've done a bit on we've done the juice and we've revived the Birmingham fog back up again. And I just wanted to try and get the shop side of things right. So I sort of took a little bit of a backward step, and Met Mods have slowed down a little bit. But then I was talking to someone. Obviously, we've still got this other project going on with Chris JB with the Pandemonium, and I've seen the CAD drawings of that this week for the 28mm 21700 version of that. I might have a prototype for Expo, I might not, I don't know. It definitely won't be available to buy at Expo, but we should have some 21700 prototypes in the UK, hopefully by Expo. That's the plan. So we'll do that. We'll do that as a release after. I don't think we'll wait till October. As soon as that one's ready to go, I want to run with that one just because actually that mod is different and it's cool. It's funky.
Yeah, a lot of people be asking about that.
I've talking to somebody else who's already made tanks and mods and stuff like that about potentially doing something with them, both on a mouth to lung and a sub-ohm RTA. I've looked at regulated mods. Quite frankly, I need to have deeper pockets, and I've got to look at to go into the regulated market for endless, because unless we literally white label something and stick our logo on it, to do something completely bespoke is just too expensive. And for me, the market, I haven't got Smock and fucking Voopoo sort of dough behind me.
That's what a few American companies have been doing at the minute, though, getting like squonk mods, like regulated squonk mods, and just whacking their labels on it. In America at the minute, I've seen that with a few companies. Was that probably something you'd go down the line of doing, or do you want to do an independent thing?
No, I mean, to be honest, I'm looking at a few things, mate. One of it is can we have all the machine work done in China, and then can we get the chipsets installed in the UK for a regulated mod? Now, obviously, there's people going, fuck me, that would be more expensive, but I can get, if our machine shop that does endless does it, I can get as little as 300 pieces done. Now, even if I just get them boxes sent to the UK, and I send some out to the anodizers, and I just do my batches of 20, 30, 40, 50, I don't know, that's probably more manageable. And then it's really deciding on chipsets. I spoke to Paul Greenoff, bloody hell, probably 18 months, 2 years ago, about him designing us a UK made chipset and something they can do. The people behind, I think, is it Climacool that Paul owns or something like that, or not
Climate.
So
it's Climate in it, yeah.
They fully manage all their stuff in the UK, the software, the hardware, everything's done in the UK. So I did speak to Paul about the possibilities of a UK made chipset. So that again, it's just something I'm looking at. It's the market moves exceptionally fast, and to put a huge amount of money into a mod that ultimately I'll rely on a very small handful of people saying yes, that's the bollocks. I've got to trust that people that are saying that are saying it because it is the bollocks and not just because they're blowing smoke up my arse. And it's the same with the mouth to lung tank and a sub-ohm tank.
Yeah,
everything's come such a long way in the last 3 years. Where you look at the likes of the Freemax mesh tank, it's a fucking proper decent tank for a stock mesh coil. It's 25 quid or 26 quid or whatever it is. The coils are decent in it. The flavour's banging. It's easy to fill up. They work okay. They look okay. They're cheap. I wouldn't be able to make a sub-ohm tank and sell it for $24.99, even 30 quid. We're probably looking at close to mid-40s, 50 maybe. And it's a lot of money then for an RTA when there's so much good Chinese stuff on the market that are doing 10, 20, 30, 40,000 runs of product. So
that's it. And a lot of the tanks that are coming out are using very, different coils that are in other tanks, and you can literally use 6, 7, 8 different coils in one tank. That's what a lot of people are doing. So for me to turn around and go, you can use 5 batteries in this new mod, to me is massive, because anybody who wants a mech who's not willing to go into a different battery that they don't understand or whatever has the opportunity of running 18650s in it and learning. So it's massive. Simple chipset, maybe better in my opinion, something like a DNA 250 or 300 style. Not crazy, not big on squonking. For me personally, I think that's now not very mainstream. It's become very niche. I believe that there's still a huge market for squonking, but it's very niche now. Are you in agreement with that, Paul?
Mate, there's several people that would vouch that 2 years ago I said squonking is going to be massive, and we were the only people that never put a fucking squonk mod out. And I'm glad we never done, because I never got it to the point that I was happy with it. And I didn't want to rush one out to market just for the sake of saying, yeah, endless, I've got a squonk mod out there. We were genuinely looking to do a series or a parallel squonk, and it worked okay. It didn't work right long term because of the heat that's involved and the insulators that are involved in the actual 510 set and stuff like that. I just could not get it right where I was happy with it long term. And we could have got one to market. I had various samples, and aesthetically we could have sold them. Long term, I think it'd have probably kicked us in the arse. And even though there's a lot of people squonking, there's a lot of people that were squonking. There's a lot of big names that started squonking that sort of died down the tube market that are now not even squonking. A lot of them are using pod systems and the like, and using Nick salts, and so the whole market's changed. But I feel like we're probably due for, over the course of this year, or certainly into the start of next year, a complete revival of tube again.
I've seen people posting tubes this week saying going old school, and posting a mod from like a year ago and saying it's old school because of the massive cycle in vaping. So I think tube's coming back. John Hornthorne said series deck with a neutral post setup.
Again, I went into this. I had a really, really funky post design. And the truth of it was, and it still might be a post design that I put out there. The thing with this mod is we can do a tapered top cap now that tapers down to 30 mil, because you can just have it. You can just screw out the old top cap, screw the next one in there, and because you can have it offset away from the body, you could taper it down to a 30 mil, and it's perfectly fine. I didn't have time to get the protos back from China to me to check them, mess about, fuck about. And literally on this one, because the modifications that we've done from this prototype to the actual production run were so small, I've had to go off video call. It's the first time I've ever done it. So I'm happy with the measurements because I've got the mod here. The actual mod body is identical. It's the same length. So when you're using 18650, even that adjustable top cap will screw flush.
Yeah.
So it will be a flush fitted top cap. It's only when you get to 21700 or 2700 it will protrude 5mm or 10mm, whether you're using it single or stacked.
Yeah, I think that would look cool because it would chamfer down, wouldn't it? Because obviously the body's a 34mm mod, but it would chamfer into like a 30mm, wouldn't it? So you could have a 30mm RPM.
Again, I'm definitely going to do a sort of a replacement of the cleaner mod. I don't know whether it would be called the cleanest. I don't know whether it would be something completely new. I don't know whether the Pandemonium may supersede that range. I don't know, but currently the Pandemonium's 28mm. I quite like the idea of a 30mm mod. So, but I'm just fucking about with different decks. This deck originally was a Goon and a V2S deck. And actually, it weren't even a Goon and a V2S deck. Me and Disco Dave looked at various clamp systems. I don't like a Goon clamp. I don't like an Apocalypse clamp. If I'm honest, I don't like Max's side clamp. Because actually, if you're doing something like a flat build on that, you've got to spin your legs around and stuff. And so for me, it's about, and decks for me personally have always been about the easiest to build on. And I genuinely think you don't get much easier than the V2S deck to build on. So we've gone slightly wider on the holes. We've put the grub screws in there, which allows us to bring everything down instead of screwing it. I looked at the possibility of doing a clamp or holes. You choose what you want to use, whether you want to clamp over the top. I can't remember if it was under the holes or over the holes, but you could basically clamp. Then we looked at a top clamp. So actually your legs just drop straight in. And the deck was V-shaped, so it all put your cores where you wanted them. The bottom of the clamps were fixed, so you'd get a measuring tool. So once you've wrapped your core, you just cut your legs at a certain length, drop them in anywhere on the rack, screw it up, and it's done. Now that is still a possibility because actually that deck looks fire. Again, I just didn't have time to do that and get it out and get everything done in time for Expo. So yeah, there's still lots we're looking at. We're still lots that we're looking to do. It's just a case of just taking sort of smaller steps now because the market's changed so much. I say when we had to, we made big numbers of mods and we sold them. When it's slowed down, we have to do the same and concentrate on the bits that are moving and selling. So
I feel like with the certain regs that have been implied in the States and stuff like that, and then possibly it coming over here, I believe that everyone's going to seem to turn to mech because of the regulations that are coming. I really do. I feel like to me personally, mech is the only thing you can't really touch because it is a metal tube. Obviously, the different design in the tubes, but it's just a metal tube. It can be taken apart. You can't take apart a regulated mod. I feel like the most customizable thing is a tube because you can do so much with a tube. I know we just say, yeah, it's just a tube, whatever. It's so customizable, like you're saying about the different size top caps. You can change them into 30mm from 34mm. You know, it is something that is highly customizable and regulated. It's just you can customize a fucking screen. And you know your very first things were I like doing the version 1 because the sleeve mod because you could interchange it. It was the very first mod that you could really sort of fully customize.
to be fair, mate, I've been looking at this all week, and I'm thinking we can turn this into a sleeve mod. Exactly the same, but have a sleeve mod.
And just lose more on the outside of the wall.
There's more than enough meat on this to lose some.
Yeah, I think we've lost our, not us personally, but I think the community and the sort of where people vape and the customization is very much no longer there, is it really? Let's be realistic.
No, but I think people's spending patterns have changed as well. So I mean, I won't go balls deep into something new like I did on the first mod, where we dropped 12 colours and had fucking however many hundred of each sleeve produced and the different top caps and all that because it just costs too much money. But I have been looking at this all week, thinking we can do a sleeve mod. Now, the only thing that I would do differently is as like. With the adjustable top cap, the first thing anyone's going to say is, "Oh, it's like an endo." Now, obviously, the endo stacks from the bottom. switch goes back in there. Our stacks from the top. It's whether we can get 2 sleeves the same size now. The actual extension for this.
I don't feel like it's, even me with my biased opinion, I still don't believe it's like an endo, because it's exactly the same top cap sort of way. It's just longer, like an Empress and an Emmy. It's exactly the same top cap, but it's just longer in thread, because so you can adjust it. So I don't feel like it's like any other mod.
No, mate, it is what it is. I say there's only so many ways you can skin a cat. We've had more than enough people copy bits and pieces we've done over the years, so I've got no qualms in looking at an idea and saying actually that works for what we're doing.
What do you mean? One of the most successful RDAs on market copied one of our decks.
The same at the end of the day. My first mod was based on a Limitless, and it was I used a Limitless. Everyone knows the story, and I decided I wanted to do something different with it and make it stackable and all them things. Someone else was putting theirs out. Look, you can do a million different types of deck now, but the reality is most bases have been covered. And even me and Dave, we've thought about things that haven't been done. The reality is to get it machined into that smaller size and make it sturdy enough to do its job without falling to pieces too quickly is either going to be damn expensive and just not worth doing it, or it's going to fall apart and people say that fucking deck's shit, regardless of how good the ingenuity behind the way it clamps the coils is. And we've come up with 2 ideas that are fire, but I know we can't do it that small. If we were working on a fucking 70mm deck, I know we could do it, but I'm not going to bring out a 70mm mod. So it's getting, and yet, like I say, we can do it. We can machine it all out of stainless and do it all in stainless that small. Then you start having issues with height of the RDA to get the clamping system in there. And this is, I mean, me and Dave had a sort of an impromptu meeting at mine last week about decks and clamps and coiling and ease of coiling. And ultimately our aim was, and the sort of directive of that little brainstorming session was, come up with a deck design where you don't have to use any tools.
So that would be cool.
And that's ultimately the things that we're doing now, is looking at something that's not been done before. Something that makes it absolutely easy to do what you've got to do. Can we? I even looked at having the inside of the base of the deck removable, a bit like what iJoy done with their combo. So we could screw the whole deck out and screw a whole different deck in there. So if you want 3-post, you buy the 3-post. If you want it, if someone said about the negative for series, do it. Now, I've looked at negative, and I honestly think with the amount of different types of wire there now, you can get a decent building, and you don't necessarily need to run it as a single coil through a negative post, which ultimately the negative post, your center post is a dead post. So you put 2 coils in there, but in essence it acts as 1 coil because you're picking up the negative off one side and the positive off the other. And the other one is literally just to join the 2 legs of the coils together. So you put 2 coils in there, but instead of halving the ohms, it doubles it like it would if you were running one big massive long coil. And I've looked at doing that. I've looked at doing it so, like, we're still working on the box as well. So that box mod is something that definitely will come out this year, because actually, if I only do a small run of them, I like a parallel mod. But then also I like a series mod, and this thing is clever, and it is clever. What we've looked at doing in that is, could we have it so you've got 2 coils in there, and you can turn it from a negative, from a dead post to a positive post without changing the coils.
Just configure it in the deck.
Some sort of screw on the deck where you screw the screw and it raises the coils by 1.5 mm and then changes the configuration of the deck. So that's what we're working on. So because that mod you will literally be able to flip it between series and parallel quite easily without changing anything. You just change the batteries, change the battery sled, put another battery sled in there, and it will go from parallel to series. So then the directive after that is, then if we can do it that quick to change the mod from series to parallel, how quickly can we change the deck from series to parallel? So you could have the trouble is, again, if you're running 0.1 on a parallel, and then you're running 0.2 on a series, it's probably too feisty.
Yeah.
So there's issues, but I'm gonna say, yeah, we're looking at all sorts of things, mate. Some clever stuff, some different stuff, some stuff that's not been done, some stuff that I've seen done that I think's not been done as good as it could be, and we maybe can do it a little bit better. And that's ultimately what evolution is all about. It's looking at someone's design and ultimately making it better, streamlining it, making it more efficient. There's a million different things, but anyone can sit at home and say, "Oh yeah, it's easy to copy someone else's idea." It's not that easy, and anyone that's fucked about with China and manufacturing mods, and I know Jake from AIV Stroke Bruise Bros actually was down at mine last Monday, said they done their mod because of the success we'd had, and actually they knocked it on the head because of the not success they had dealing with fucking China.
Yeah, like your first video call through this mod, it must have been a bit of a shock for you on your system for that, for not literally just send over a drawing and to draw it, actually having to get on the phone and speak to them. How did it go?
No, I've spoken to them. I mean, what I mean is, normally what I've done is, in the very early days, they made a prototype, they sent it to me. I'd send them the changes via drawing. So I'd say, look, this here measures 67 mil. It needs to be 66.1. So I mean, you're getting down to the nitty gritty then to make sure that the switch adjustments are right. That you've got to work on the basis that some RDAs might have a 3.5 mil 510 on it, some might have a 5 mil 510 on it, some might have a 3.5 and a 3.5, but the fucking positive pin protrudes an extra mil. Well, all that's got to be taken up from the switch. So if you start losing on the switch and the switch and the switch and the switch, you get to the point where you've got a fucking 5 mil fire length, which some people don't want. So it's trying to factor in all the different. You've got adjustments at the bottom end. You've got changes at the top end with different RDAs. Now the beauty of the dirty mod is that we were very, very limited on RDAs that were available in the world to go on a mod that size without it looking stupid. So most people run our RDA on our mod. The reality is that the 34 Slam sold to lots and lots of people that never had our mod just because they wanted it for various other mods. Well done, my fucking vacuums just took off to do a fucking. Scheduled for a night. It must be 9 o'clock, mate, because my vacuum's gone into fucking vacuum. But then, say you start looking at all these potential adjustments, and you look at different batteries, and you've got some 21700s that are actually nearly 22 mil. 30T is only a fraction bigger than the 2700, than the iJoy 2700, and the iJoy 2700 is bigger than the 2700A. And you know yourself, we produced whatever we did, 800 Empresses.
Yeah.
And the fucking iJoy battery didn't fit in them, and I had to pay to have them machined out in the UK after we'd had the batch of mods delivered because the measurements were based on the 2700, and actually the 2700 from iJoy with the 5 legs on didn't fit the fucking mod.
It's a lot fatter, yeah.
Making sure that we've got all these factors in there.
Do you think there is going to be a change in batteries, though? Do you think there is going to be a massive sort of influx in different batteries now? Because that's what we've been begging for. It's been quite a long time that we've been begging for that technology to move forward. And obviously, we've seen the 21700s coming through and the 2700s and now 2650s. Do you know, is there going to be a time where we're going to get like all this technology and there's going to be a battery that's a lot better than what there is at the minute?
Mate, I think factory technology has to improve generally. It just has to. That's my personal opinion. I'd like to see a 26700. I'd like to see a 26 or a 24 700, a 24 650. Do you know what I mean?
I think what we've got to get our head around is the fact is that this battery technology is not for vapors. It's these batteries aren't manufactured for the massive vapors, either. They're manufactured for other things.
Mate, 2700 and 21700s have been manufactured ultimately for Tesla. Was the first people to develop the 2700. Now, obviously, you look at laptops, you look at most power tools, they're running
18650s out there.
50. Loads of them have gone over to 2700. Some have gone over to 21700 because people are chasing on most things. People are chasing milliamp hours. Now, as everything gets better and more efficient, then obviously you need to look at the amp rating as well. on a laptop, and the laptop's not drawing many amps, so really it's about as much MAR as you can. On a power tool, you could be getting fairly big bursts of amperage requirements. So, but I just think battery technology has to improve at some point. Has to change. Whether they become smaller, whether I don't know, with the same amount of kick and power, I haven't got a clue, mate. But I think something will change.
I feel like something has to change, whether it's just in general use of batteries or vaping, and somebody moves forward with some sort of technology. Because we're looking at, like, it's sorry to sort of go away from the topic, but like pod systems, they're not any sort of MAR that they should be. They should be able to last the day. They should be lasting a couple of days without charge. You know, we're sort of stepping back in batteries, and then when we're wanting to move in technology in mods, you're sort of leaving the battery stuff behind, and we have been for a while. And it's whether a big company out there who's manufacturing like power tools turns around and goes, fucking, we need something that's going to last, because these customers are just currently complaining that these fucking batteries aren't lasting. So it's got to be some sort of big investment, because let's be realistic, it's not the battery itself, it's the technology in it. That's the big investment. It's learning how the batteries are going to last, making the battery bigger.
Don't understand why these battery companies haven't said, let's get them up to 5.5 volts instead of 4.2.
Yeah.
So if you can imagine a 21700 that's 5.5 volts or 5.2 volts stacked, completely different lead to a stacked 18650 3.7 nominal. So 3.7 nominal will normally charge at 4.2 or thereabouts. Now, I'm sure me and James Burr had this conversation ages ago about just, is the battery capable of holding 5 volts, and it's just the chargers that are designed to cut them out at 4.2. But either way, there's a whole massive investment involved, because there isn't a battery charger out there currently, unless you're using LiPo battery where you can pick and choose your shit. You can change it to 11.2. I mean, I've obviously they've got the car and the drone and the plane and whatever, and they all take different cells. So some of them are charging, some of them are 4S, some of them are 3S. You obviously go through the balance charger and pick what you want and the voltage you want to charge to and whatever. But on all the standard battery chargers for the vaping batteries, they're all bottoming out at 4.2 volts, because that's what the battery's designed to do. So is there an ability to change the actual voltage of the batteries to 5 or 5.5 volts or 6 volts?
Do you think we're limited because of the size of the battery? Because, like, we know obviously, like, your LiPo batteries are flat out there, because obviously the battery pack is actually flat.
You can get cylinder LiPos as well.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So is there not a way that we can sort of do something in that technology? Because are we stuck in a rut where we're used to cylinder batteries, and that's the way, just the same as a remote control uses normal AA batteries? You know what I mean? Are we stuck in the rut where we're not actually thinking out of the box and going, actually, we could use a LiPo this way, that way? Because then we would be reaching them sort of 5.2 volts, 5 volts.
I mean, I know Eric Hutchinson again. He fucked about with LiPo, didn't he, on an Ender?
Yeah.
Or on an Exo Armor, or I can't remember one of them either way. And it was a right fucking dodgy looking contraption.
Proper.
And the trouble is, you get LiPo wrong, mate, and it's fucking curtains. You know what I mean? And that's, I'm pretty sure they're doing 18650 that's square.
Really?
I know. I remember back in the day, I had a battery catalogue off a Chinese company, and actually there was like a 26650 equivalent, but in a square battery, and an 18650 equivalent that was in a square battery. So it was actually 18 mil square as opposed to 18 mil OD and stuff like that. I don't know whether it's cheaper to produce round. I'd imagine it is cheaper to produce round. I don't know whether they'd fit in the same chargers, because they've all got fucking half moon bays in there to drop the battery in. So it's not just about the battery, it's about everything that goes with that battery.
Yeah, I was going to say that. It's like it changes everything.
We need someone, like if Tesla suddenly says, if we went to square cells that are 20 centimeters, 20 mil square, we can get an extra 300 cells in a Model X battery pack. Therefore, we can get better amperage. Therefore, our ludicrous fucking plus mode we can now do a ludicrous plus that does 0 to 60 in 1.4 seconds. So therefore, we want to produce X million cells over the next 18 months. Then obviously there's an invested interest for both Tesla and the battery company, which they've done with Panasonic, to actually do something together, because they've got a base user for that type of cell. The reality is, once that cell's gone into a mainstream product and it becomes a mainstream battery, other people manufacturing products could then look at it and say, fucking hell, the benefit of that cell is we can use 3 cells in parallel instead of 4 cells in parallel, because we've got better amperage or better MAR rating. So we're going to change all of our battery packs on our Makita drills to the square cells. Then it starts becoming the mainstream. The minute that happens, some knobhead like me will produce a square mod.
It's true. It's getting the mainstream to change it. Everyone's mindset to change, and it's the same as I remember having a conversation going, well, you'll never change anything but 18650. Now everyone's used to 18650s. And then now you've gone through that stage where people are now recognizing 21700, 2700 as a stable battery. So then everyone's changing their mindset on what batteries they use. It's just getting
in October, mate. We're at the expo and we've got the Pandemonium prototype, and I sit down and we have a chat with the vaping bogan, and we're having a good old rattle, and he's saying, I've just actually had to go on one of your dirty mods and fucking blah 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 blah. And I sat down and disassembled the Pandemonium, and my man's genuinely saying, fucking hell, mate, this is fucking great. But then he said to me, I genuinely wouldn't review it at the minute because it's 18650 and it's old technology. And it's not got the capability to hold a 2700 or 21700. Now, to be fair, I'd already said to Chris at that point, this mod needs to be 21700. You don't, and even with this mod here, I've done it all the batteries because we've got the width.
But as I said before, I feel like that works because people don't want to step out of their comfort zone and go for a 26650. They think, fucking hell, 26650.
No, yeah, one of the best batteries on the market, genuinely, in my opinion, at the moment, is 26650. It's fire. The LG batteries, fucking, I've got them here. In fact, they're on charge. The discharge on them is fucking quality. And it's probably not a million miles away from a 21700. But the 21700 slightly beats it on amperage, slightly beats it on MAR. Therefore, it's a better cell. But if you want a squat mod, because 5 mils not a lot, and actually on something as thick as the dirty or the dirtier, going up another 5 mil doesn't make no odds because it's so fucking wide. But when you start doing that to a 24 mil mod, it puts a hell of a length on. I mean, we've reduced our switch length considerably inside the mod on this one. So actually, when it's in 21700 mode single, it's only about 1.5 mil, 2 mil longer than the original dirty mod was with 26650 in it. So in single, 26650, 18650, 2650, it's actually shorter than the old mod.
Yeah. And you've got that
we just didn't need that much meat on the switch inside. It was longer than it needed to be. So we've reduced it on this, and I think if we do the 20, maybe we'll do a 26 mil to replace the cleaner. We've got the 28 mil Pandemonium, and we'll stick with 34 on this. But if we've done a 21700 that doesn't only takes 21700 or short or skinnier by using sleeves, 26 mils the thinnest I'd want to go on a 21700 because that only still gives me about 2 mil wall thickness.
Yeah.
Because actually we've got to need as close as fuck it 22 mil inside. Because the 21700, some of the 21700s are actually 21.7 mil, so you're as close as fuck it 22 mil by the time the wrap's on there.
Yeah.
So you're left with 4 mil either side. Then we've got our switch thread and we've got our hybrid thread.
Yeah, it needs to be
a little bit. So you start compromising. I looked at genuinely, can we fit? Even if you look at the Emma, 22 mil. It's actually running an 18 mil battery, so you've still got 4 mil.
Mm.
Now, we haven't quite got 4 mil material in that because there's a sleeve inside the sleeve. But even if we've done a straightforward old style endless mod 22 mil and reduce the switch size down to 22 mil and everything, you'd have 2 mil wall thickness on a 22 mil mod. In fact, again, you wouldn't quite, because again, you're at 18.5, 18.6 mil, because you want the battery to be able to slide in and out. So, just about fucking about, mate. And it's for me, the sort of requirements of mods is different. The community is different. The feedback you get off people is different. Even making 200 mods is still a chunk of money risk for us to do.
Yeah, of course. Neil said, "Can we see the deck on the dirty, or is it the same as the dirty, or still a secret?" It's not a secret.
No, it's not. It's not the same. Let me see what I can. So I mean, this is you can't really. I mean, you can see it, but it's basically it's like a V2S instead of a V. It's got 2 holes instead of 3 holes either side. It's got grub screws instead of flatheads. Although I have requested flathead grub screws on the finished one, so you can still use your screwdriver, because there's nothing worse than fucking not having an Allen key. And on the finished deck, the actual posts are slightly close together. The holes are slightly bigger. It's just that deck just works for me. It's just easy to build on, whether you're old school builder and you know what you're doing, or you're new. Just to go straight through them 2 center holes is just fire.
It is really, really easy. So we're running. There isn't much news. We've had a quite good conversation for the last hour. We've had a decent conversation. There's not much news. Some kids stole some jewels in America, walked into a convenience store and stole 50 jewels each and walked out. That's literally what they did. That's in the news of vaping. Seychelles will lift its vape ban and regulate sales. We know that. And then California had a hearing last week about the flavor ban. They're still going through about the flavor ban. So that's all the news really about vaping. So we are on the year's show, and I know for a fact Paul likes our quick fire round, so I've come up with a couple quick fire round questions. If anybody's got any quick fire round questions they want to add in, do add them in. But this is proper random, this, Paul. Like, it is going to be loads of just random questions. So we'll start off with scale of 1 to 10. How good are you at keeping secrets?
Mate, I'm literally a 1 to a 10. Yeah, I mean, look, there's some people who go, look, promise me you won't say anything. I'm like, nah, of course I won't. And when they've got, I'm like, mate, guess what I've just fucking heard. And there's other people that genuinely I could keep a secret for. Even there's people that I've kept secret for that I don't even speak to anymore, and I'd still keep them secrets because that's how we were rolling at that time, and that's just the way it is. But yeah, I'm a 1 to a 10, mate. It just depends. It depends who it is and what the fucking secret is, to be quite honest with you.
I was gonna say you should be asking your last, but you answered it. Right, proper random one. First ever celebrity crush. As a young teen, who did you have on a poster in your bedroom?
I wasn't a poster on my bedroom wall kind of guy, so I genuinely never had no poster of anyone on my bedroom wall. But Danny Minogue was actually my first crush. And one day, there was me, my brother-in-law, who weren't my brother-in-law at the time, but he ended up becoming my brother-in-law. And my oldest brother sat downstairs at my mum's watching the telly. And my middle brother, Craig, come downstairs at about 9 o'clock on the night. And our brother's gone, where you off to? And he's gone, I've got a post. This is for a competition on BRMB, which was obviously like the Birmingham local radio. and it was to meet Danny Minogue at the Institute in town. And Andy, who was my brother-in-law, says, "If you win that, I'll suck your fucking cock, you prick." And then the next day, Craig come in from work and says, "Andy, you owe me a fucking blowjob." So me and Craig went to the Institute, and she was, I can't even remember what her song was, mate. And obviously, Kylie Minogue was massive, weren't she, in Neighbours at that sort of time?
Yeah.
Danny Minogue had gone into Home and Away or Neighbours or whatever she was, or she might have just become a pop star. I can't really remember. But I actually met her. We met her backstage. I'd got the most hideous suit on. Fucking, I'm sure my dad bought off the shoplifters, and it was a quality. It was a quality suit. I'm just not sure it even fitted me, but it was a case of like fucking 17 quid sold. I weren't really. So yeah, Danny Minogue maybe, but I mean, I weren't really that type of teen. I was out robbing cars at 13, mate.
Yeah, you see, you was more into your motors than that one. You've always been into your motors.
You know what? I enjoyed going out and having a laugh with my pals. To be fair, I was probably a bit older than my time during them years. To be fair,
I do like that. Right. Who has this is a controversial question. Who has it easier, men or women? Remember, Tashi's watching.
My honest answer is men and women, because I think, again, it depends what you're doing and where you are. I think if I look at mine and Tasha's life here in this house, I get the better end of the bargain, because she's cooking tea, cleaning, washing, ironing. She goes out to the shop, and I do try not to. I try not to take advantage of the situation, but and genuinely, for the last sort of, I'd say the last couple of months, probably a few weeks before I was off sick, and I've been off sick for about 6 weeks or so, I tried to start sort of cooking meals, which I'd never done. I hadn't done for a long time. So even doing the kids' teas and cooking us something on a Saturday, or doing a lunch on a Saturday. I don't mind vacuuming, especially now I've got one that I can press a button and it just fucks off and vacuums. I don't actually mind doing housework. I don't iron clothes. I don't wash clothes. I've never done the washing or the ironing. But then I think in another walk of life where you've got couples that split up and there's kids involved, I genuinely think men get the shittier end of the stick with that. As a general. Now, I've got pals that are single parent fathers that have got the kids. I've got pals that are single that don't see the kids because the mum's a cunt. So when I think men and women have got it equally as easy and as equally as hard, depending on what that situation is. And I think all this bullshit about pay equality and all that malarkey, I'm not saying that a woman shouldn't be paid as much for it as a man, but I'm saying just because you've got a fanny and tits don't mean you should get the same money if you're not as good as doing the job. You should be paid accordingly. I don't believe that a woman should be taken on just for keeping up numbers' sakes. I don't believe a black person or an Asian person or a disabled person should get a job just because of numbers' sakes. I think people should get a job, do a job, perform, and get paid according to their abilities. That's my honest opinion.
I agree with that, yeah. Right, next question is: have you ever wore socks and sandals and tell the truth?
No. No.
Not even in the crib?
No.
I so wanted you to say yes, I am just in the crib. Right. If you could go back and be any age, what would the age be and why? If you could live it, say for instance, for a day, you could live a day back, at what age and why? What would you do?
I'd go back to 35, and it'd just be any day before my dad died. Any day before my dad died, just to have a day with my dad.
I love that.
That's the only. There's nothing, mate. I've had some major fuck ups in my life, and I've made mistakes. But genuinely, I wouldn't change anything, because ultimately I believe it makes you the person that you become. But just to have a day with my dad, just chilling, dossing, doing whatever, just that. Any age before the day that my dad died, just have a day with my dad.
I love that. I love that. You can answer this question in two different ways, but you can also perceive the question in two different ways. Is double dipping at a party ever acceptable? So yeah, you can perceive that in any way.
I've been to some parties where there's been some triple dipping, mate.
I knew that one. I knew you'd like that one. I knew you'd like. Right, let's go to some sort of. Let's go to a couple of nice ones. Would you live forever? If you could, would you live forever?
No.
And what's the reason you? I had this discussion earlier with my parents, and I said it to my parents: "If you could live forever, would you live forever?" And they instantly both went no, like you did. And then asked them why. What was the reason why you wouldn't live forever?
Because I don't believe that you would evolve as a human being as is needed for the people that have been born around you. I was watching Loose Women this morning because that's what my life's become.
And Moana. Don't forget Moana.
I get up in the morning, I watch a bit of Piers Morgan on GMTV, then I watch Lorraine, then Jeremy Kyle, then This Morning, then Loose Women. And actually, they were on about sort of vitamin pills, and there's this new thing come out. I can't remember what it's called, and it's supposed to basically prolong heart disease, dementia, and then also the general aging effect of the human being, etc. And actually, like some of them are going, "Oh no, I'd definitely take it. I want to live forever." And there was other. In fact, Janet Street Porter says, if it would keep my faculties straight, so my mind and my thought process, then I'd take it. I wouldn't take it just to prolong being an old person.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, it depends what you mean by live forever. If you just got older and older and older and older but didn't die, I don't get the point.
Yeah, to me, but my answer to this was everybody around you would have gone who you was, at your age and your family. Obviously, you'd see your future generation.
Definitely just me as a person that could live forever. Absolutely not. For that.
That's what. That's it. That was my answer. I was like, when everyone's around me,
I just don't get it. I just don't. I don't particularly like the fact that we fuck about with nature in any way. And controversially, should IVF be a thing on the basis that if you can, you can, and if you can't, you can't, and if you can't, you shouldn't. Now, obviously, I'm not saying that's my exact thoughts because it's not. It's much broader than that. But as a statement, I do think that we fuck about with nature and science way too much.
Freezing fucking bodies at minute, mate.
It's just I don't get it. And the bottom line is, mate, if I was to be able to prolong my old man dying, the stark reality is at that particular time in my life, I'd have said, yeah, we'll do whatever we've got to do. Within a week of my dad dying, I knew it was the right time for him to die. And it sounds really harsh and sinister, and it weren't. It was, my dad had got diabetes. He'd been diagnosed with terminal cancer 6 months before that. He'd just finished just about to go out for his last dose of chemo, radiotherapy the day that he died. And before we'd even buried him, I said to my mum, I'm so glad that he's gone now before he was sort of 6 stone and not my dad. And the grandkids,
Yeah.
When my dad died, the grandkids knew that granddad was dead, but they remember my dad just being my dad, and I remember my dad being my dad. And I was dreading that whole fucking decline of cancer, and it would go against everything my dad believed in. My dad did not want to be resuscitated. He was 64 years old when he died, and he had a heart attack in the house, and he was dead before he hit the floor, is the reality of it. And they spent half an hour trying to get the fucker back to life. And I wasn't there. I was on my way. I'd literally pulled up at my mum's house as the paramedics had just left the house to say, look, that was like half an hour had passed and we can't do it. My sister had phoned me and says, to be fair, she said to me, the paramedics are here, but I think he's dead. So, and for as hard as that was that day, mate, it was crucifying for me personally, and I'm sure everyone else in our family felt exactly the same way. Before the funeral, I sat down with my mum. I said, you know what, it was just his time to go then. And my dad was a very pragmatic man, and he was very much about, he says, like, he found out on December the 23rd, the year before he died, that he got terminal cancer. And he literally says, I'm not having radiotherapy, I'm not having chemotherapy, there's nothing we can do to stop it. And actually, my mum pretty much says to him, you fucking well, you prick. You've got 5 kids and you've got fucking 10 grandkids. But my dad was a bit like, we're only prolonging something that's going to happen here. And actually, that prolonging isn't good for him. And my dad was a very proud man. So actually, then to be in a hospice potentially at fucking 7 or 8 stone when he was a fucking 6'4", 18, 20 stone bloke, I wouldn't have wanted to see him like that at all. And not genuinely, like, them months leading up to him dying. And when he died, it weren't expected. Like, it was like a shock to all of us because we weren't expecting that to happen. In the back of my mind, I was thinking at some point over these next few months, they pretty much said, oh, you might have as much as 2 years. I was saying to our mum, if he gets 9 months, that's as much as he's going to get. And he was 6 months pretty much to the day that he died from when he found out he got cancer. But my dad was just a man who says life's for the living, and you don't need to spend your life fucking stressing about me being dead, because once I'm dead, I'm dead, and once you're dead, you're dead. And that's easier said than done, mate, because I miss him every fucking day. But
yeah,
I'd never stop my dad. I'd never stop, like, because of my dad dying, I'd never stop it from me doing something in my life, because I know it'd go against his grain, because he weren't about that. He was, you do what you've got to do, enjoy yourself, be happy, and live your life. So to live forever is ridiculous. To fuck about with science, in my own personal opinion, is a very shallow statement, and it's not my thoughts, because my thoughts are a bit broader than just saying there shouldn't be IVF, and over the age of 65, 70, should they start resuscitating people? But in essence, we are putting a huge strain, not only on resources such as the NHS by having people living into their 80s, 90s, 100s. We've increased the retirement age because we've stopped national service, which meant at some point the youth that were leaving school had to do national service, so then they weren't working. People were retiring at 65, so then there was them jobs become available to the people that were leaving national service and going on to other things. Now you've not got national service. They've introduced higher education up to the age of 18. They've extended retirement age for men and for women. But then you've also just got a general drain on our ecosystem, on our world that we live on. And
yeah, it's a lot deeper than it is, isn't it?
That's what I'm saying. I say my thoughts aren't very sort of brutal, saying no, people shouldn't have IVF if you can't have fucking kids. It's God's way of fucking saying fuck you, you're not to be a parent, because there's people that have had kids through IVF that absolutely deserve to have that child, and there's people that have had kids that don't deserve the fucking fanny that they were born with, because they're horrible cunts. And that's when my thought process changes. Is why should 2 people that desperately want a child and could get that luxury by having IVF, and they'd met the most wonderful parents ever to be on the planet, why should they not be given that opportunity? But then I think there's adoption, and there's potentially other avenues, maybe. So I say that before people start inboxing me saying, you fucking prick, I had my kid on IVF and what about that, I'm just saying that my thoughts are much broader than that statement. But should we be fucking about with science and nature to the levels that we do?
It's just your opinion, you're allowed it. Going on to a lighter note, what's the fastest speed you've ever driven a car? Be honest.
I personally driven a car out.
And say, I plead the fifth if you don't want to answer it.
And the speculation.
This story I'm about to tell is a made-up story, but I've been.
I don't know what the exact speed was, because when you're doing over 180, 184 mile an hour, it's fucking hairy shit, mate. But my pal had an Audi S2, which was a backer day car that was, it was before like all the RS series and even before the S4s, left-hand drive. They came, it was basically a collaboration between Porsche and Audi, and they were all estates, or were they all estates? They might not have been actually. But the one I had was a black estate. There was not many of them made. They were only available in left-hand drive. Anything in the UK was imported. And I had that up to just about 290 kilometers, which is just shy of 200. What the thing was, a fucking animal. My own cars, the fastest I ever done was I had a 325i Sport that bottomed out at about 155, and I had that at the limit many a time. And then the same kid that had the S2 also built it was a 2.9 Sierra 4x4 estate, and he built it with a 4x4 Sapphire Cosy engine. But it was running at something stupid like fucking 680, 700 brake horsepower, fucking 550 pound-foot of torque. And the first time I ever went in that car, we were going to Blackpool on the M6, 4 up, and he took all the back seats out of this estate car and just put 2 single Cosworth seats in the back, so it was like a 4-seater car. So in the back, you just got your own individual seats, and that mate, it's cool as fuck. It was an estate as well. Cosy bonnet on there, Cosy bumpers. It just looked like a Sierra Sapphire Cosworth, but an estate version of it. It was fire. And we were going down the M6 doing about 160 mile an hour, and a TVR Cerbera came up behind us. Now, at that time, they were the fastest production car, I think, at 172 mile an hour. And Cal pulled into the middle lane, and the Cerbera went past us at about probably 164. He weren't going past us fast, but he was going past us. And as soon as he got past us, Cal pulled back out behind him and pushed him and pushed him. And obviously, when the Cerbera got to like 172 or whatever it bottomed out at, he moved back over, and we went back past him. And like, this fucking Cosy was off the clock, mate. And then when we come back from Blackpool on the night, I drove it back, and it was just like mental, like over 190 miles. The fuck, honestly, the thing was crazy fast, man. It was madness. So, but I was in a, what car was it? It might have been an AMG that my pal had. Like a friend of ours who's like Cal, who had them cars. Cal was he's an Arab kid. He fucking minted off it. But then another friend of ours, he had a 2001 new shape M3 when they come out. What, it was a Y reg when it changed on that shape. And then he had AMGs and all sorts of stuff. But he had an AMG that for whatever reason weren't restricted at 155. And like, you do get these road cars, you'll get sometimes you get to 155 and they're still going like a fucking bitch. Do you know what I mean? In fact, it was an RS6. And it was just not restricted for whatever reason. It just weren't restricted. They're good for over 200 mile an hour, mate. The fucking mental thing. It's pretty much a Lamborghini with a fucking family saloon car body shell on that. Truth, the same engine, V10, fucking naughty thing. But I'm not a very good passenger. Like, to be honest, mate, regularly I used to drive on motorways 120, 130 mile an hour. You start going over that and shit starts getting hairy. But then I'm literally driving and I'm like, what if my fucking front right tyre blew out now, man? I'm into that central reservation. Or I'd go past an Arctic and think, what if that front tyre blew out? I'm gonna straight under the back of the truck, and then my fucking shit plays tricks on me, and then I end up slowing down to 70 mile an hour and just getting my fucking self together. And I'm so, you know what, I'll just drive at 70, and some wanker will go past me at 1 and I'm back out and I'm like, fuck you, you come, where do you think you're going? So, but then if I was driving round the side streets, I'd happily come down my hill at 90 mile an hour.
Fucking hell.
I don't like motorway driving. Do you know, I feel vulnerable on the motorway because I don't trust other cunts on the road, and I'm not a very good passenger. So like, I've got a handful of pals that have all had like proper performance cars, and I'd happily sit in a car with them blindfolded, knowing they can drive and they can do their shit. I had a lot of pals that had cars that were way too fast for their ability because they'd got money around them, and I'm not good. I'm not, because I am a good driver, but I understand the science of driving as well. I understand about weight shift and fucking and braking on. Like some more pals going into a bend and braking mid corner. I'm like, mate, what are you doing? You prick fucking. But I'm watching everything. I'm watching cars. I can see cars 9 cars away from me. I've seen the motorbike waiting to pull out the junction. I've seen the fact that the bus has stopped and someone's got off the bus, and I've seen them walk towards the front, and we're going overtaking the bus at 100. And I'm like, someone's only got to step out, and you've just bonneted 2 people and killed them. And literally, I'm processing all this while I'm driving. So then when other people are driving, I'm like, whoa, watch that. I swear I'm fucking a shit passenger, man, bad. And actually, in the 6 weeks that I've been off, I've drove twice. I've drove my car twice. Once when I went to the doctor and reversed into the fucking fence and smashed it back. And this morning I took the kids to school for the first time in all that time that I've been off. Yesterday we went to Nottingham. Tash drove. First time I've ever gone on the motorway with Tash driving, because I don't mind driving. I'd always rather drive, and I get travel sick to fuck as well. So that it's been a mad experience. But even like yesterday, I'm not asked if she's doing 100 mile an hour, but like we was on the motorway and then we had to pull into the slow lane to take the junction off the motorway. And obviously from the passenger seat, I can see that the traffic's backing up.
Yeah.
And she's accelerated to get in front of the car to pull in, and I'm not like whoa, but I just says the cars are slowing down there, Bab. Do you know what I mean? Just be careful. And now as soon as you come across, you're just sinning. But I feel like I'm one step ahead of every cunt. You know what I mean? So then it makes me a really bad passenger and I've got pals that go, mate, I've seen the fucking red car. And I'm like, as long as you have, I'm just saying. Do you know what I mean? Because you might not have done. But yeah, I'm a shit passenger, mate.
That's what I'm like. Do you have imaginary brakes? You start pressing up fucking brake.
I've got better as I've got these, like genuinely these 6 weeks where Tasha's drove everywhere. She's took me to the doctor. She took me to work to take my sick note. She's done all the school runs. She's picked them up from school. She's gone shopping, or we've had the shopping delivered. It's the first time where I've just not drove my car, and I've been a passenger all the time. There's been times where I might not have gone out in my car for ages, but I haven't gone out in a car at all. But now I often enjoy sitting on the passenger side and just fucking chilling. The only thing is, I was talking to you yesterday, and then I just stopped talking to you. And that's because we started driving again. And if I look at my phone for more than 6 seconds when we're driving, I get travel sick instantly. Like, fucks my shit up. I can't even put the fucking postcode in the sat nav when I'm driving, man. It just makes me feel sick instantly. So Tasha come back out, got in the car, and like me and you were mid-conversation, and bam, my phone just went down, and I can't even pick it up. I can't even pick it up to check and see if you've answered me, because just them few seconds of looking just fuck with my shit.
It's because you're losing your focus. I'm the same. I'm exactly the same. Right, here's another question. If Kim Kardashian and Donald Trump were both drowning and you could only save one, which one would you save?
Donald Trump, mate, every time. That game's just funny. Only because it makes me laugh. The geezer's mad as fuck. Mad as fuck.
Proper. I would answer that with Trump.
As mental as he is, and he's deranged, that man. He's like, genuinely, he's not right. I just feel like he does what he says he's going to do.
That's my argument. When I argue with people and they say to me, you like Donald Trump? I like him because he's actually the last president that's actually said he'd do what he do.
Because the geezer's fucking mental. But
he's the only person who says shit and then does it.
Put forward some sort of fucking proposal prior to getting his self voted in, and stuck to the fucking thing,
and then done it. Yeah,
just cracks on, and he don't give a fuck. He literally don't care. Kim Kardashian steals oxygen off people. She's fucking cretin. They're all fucking. Kanye West, the only good thing to come out of Kanye West is fucking Yeezys. Apart from the geezers are fucking, he's just like Patrick Pratton.
The next question was going to be, do you like... The next question was going to be, what's your opinion on Kanye West?
Mate, I would walk past Ian Beale off EastEnders to slap Kanye West up the fucking face. I fucking can't stand the cunt. Honestly, I fucking ditch my shit.
This might take
I've seen a meme the other day and said, I want someone to love me. Hey, Kanye loves Kanye. And I thought, that's just like, he's the most self-righteous motherfucker ever taught this planet.
He sat in interviews and called himself God and all sorts of stuff in the past. I'm a rock star. I'm a god. I'm the god. God.
Is that some God's plan?
You what?
Some God's plan.
No, that's Drake.
He's another fucking self-righteous motherfucker and all. Now, I'd happily pick up Kanye West and beat Kim Kardashian with him. Wish him as like a hitting stick or something. I can't fucking stand her.
Right, this question might take you back to your childhood. Have you ever tasted soap?
Yeah. Not because our dad never ever put soap in our mouths to swear in. He just gives a fucking shot to the head. One of this, like, if you say naughty words, you're going to get soap. If you say naughty words, mate, you're getting a thick lip. I don't know. Mate, I was fucking fat as fuck as a kid. I probably tried to eat it. I can, like, you're saying this now, and I've literally I can taste the smell of carbolic soap from school. Remember that fucking
that blue when it blew?
We used to have green carbolic and pink carbolic. I don't know what the difference between the two was. So I was going to ask you another. Go on, ask some more questions.
Go on.
I don't actually use soap because I've got really sensitive skin, so I always use some sort of like foam or
Femme fresh.
Yeah, clean my gooch with it. Like, even like highly sensitive soaps and that, like Dove and whatever, they draw me out. Properly draw me out bad.
I've used Femme Fresh a few times. I ain't even gonna lie.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't mind having a smelly gooch, but I am a wiper with wet wipes, so you always go a little bit further back than you need to, just to fucking make sure the back end of the balls are clean and whatever.
Here's a gender neutral question for you. Is the name Charlie for a boy or a girl? Here's a gender neutral question for you.
I actually really like Charlie for a boy, and I quite like Charlie for a girl as well. So,
right. What's your favourite carnival food?
I've never been to carnival.
Are you kidding?
It's not my thing, mate.
I think we should go carnival this year.
No, Simone's been in that. It's just not my bag.
To me personally, if you was at carnival, I knew you'd be one of the guys on the stoop, just chilling, doing your own thing, not in the midst of it.
Yes, so then also just be at home.
Yeah, but it's the vibe. I can admit wholeheartedly, I'm a people person. I'm a people watcher. When I go into city centres,
mate, look, when I used to, my pal used to have a box down at the Blues, so we go and watch the football in the box. And actually, it sounds really pompous, and it's not. But I like the idea that there's a glass between me and all them fucking tramps the other side. Or throwing tramps into the mix probably makes me sound a bit more pompous than what I meant it. But the thing about being in the boxes, you've got like all the atmosphere of the stadium. But I can sit there, my beer's not going to get knocked over, and a fucking point of piss ain't going to come my way if we score a goal. And I think the carnival's the same. If I could be in like the Pope-mobile, where I can feel the vibe and that, and have a little jig and that. But I don't really have to speak to no. Mate, did you see the video of the Pope in the week?
Yeah, kiss my ring, my ass.
Like, whoa, what are you doing, man? Fuck you.
I got asked. Abby was like, "What's he doing?" I says, "Well, it's bow down and kiss the ring," and they're trying to kiss his fucking ring on his hand, but he's like pieing him off, like, "Fuck yourself, fuck yourself." It was mad, that video, wasn't it?
Mate, I think it's fucking shocking. Me and Dave, Disco and Billy were here last night, and Tasha then come on the news, and I was like, "What a fucking motherfucker!" Dave was like, "I just snatched his hand, man." He said, yeah, he's like, I'd have been watching saying, "Yeah, wait." He said, I'd have gripped him up big time, like, and started kissing him, and took his ring off and just wore the cunt. These are I ain't got nothing in my phone. These are my Samsung ones.
All right, next question. big dogs or small dogs? And if it's a big dog, what dog? Or if a little dog, what dog? Or no dogs? And you're going to answer right here.
You know what? I like big dogs. My favourite dog, if I could have one, would be a bulldog, which are probably classed as a medium-sized dog because they're definitely not classed as well. I know they're classed as a medium-sized dog, so I used to have a bulldog, but I actually really like big dogs. I like lots of different breeds of big dogs, but I'm not a very good dog person. I'm not particularly fucking fond of animals.
Did you see the XL bullies that Keith Maxwell put up this week?
Yeah, you know what? But my old man used to breed Rottweilers back in the day, so we had Rottweilers and stuff like that. But I'm not confident around dogs. I haven't got that air of authority that you need to have around dogs when you've got killer dogs in the house. And the reality, like, it genuinely grips my shit when I see people posting pictures of a fucking 6-week-old baby in the fucking dog bed with a pit bull going, "Who said pit bulls are dangerous?" They're not until they fucking decide, until the kid rolls over and squashes its bollocks by accident and the fucking dog takes the baby's head off. Yep. So I'm even our dog, we've got a Bichon Frise, mate. It's like a fucking big ball of fluff when it's combed up. And I'll bollock it and I'll fuck it off outside and that. But the reality is, if she growled at me and went for me, I'm not like, you've got, like, my old man he's good. He was good with dogs, and you've got to be in charge. You've got to be like the master, ain't you? And I'm just not good at doing it because I'm always thinking, that cunt bites me, man. I need to have a taser or something so I can taser him and just take him out the game. Do you know what I mean? Straight away. So yeah, I'll do like big dogs, but I'm just not very good with dogs.
My favourite dogs are pits. I like Tibetan Mastiffs, which I think I've ever seen one ever in my life. And I quite like Staffies, but they've got to be blue Staffies.
So I like.
What's the English? What's the English with the big? Is it English with the big nose?
Yeah, English bulldog.
Yeah, I love them.
My mate had a few of them, and actually, I used to like fucking bullseye in it out of Oliver Twist. That's an English bulldog, and it was never my thing. But then a friend of mine had a miniature English bulldog. They're sick, mate.
Like, a miniature.
They look like puppies all the time. Like they're just little. But actually, I quite like an English bulldog. And another friend of mine had an English bulldog that was fire because it was hench as fuck. Because some of it, like my own bulldog was nice, but he only got fed once a day and he didn't eat shit off people's plates. And the thing is, you start having these you look at a British bulldog as a puppy, mate. They're probably one of the most adorable puppies you'll ever see. So then you get into this mindset of, I'll give it a bit of shit off the plate and that. But actually, I was really conscious about not having a big fat fucking unfit dog. Now, because I swear, if you go onto YouTube, everyone that's watching, go onto YouTube and put in British Bulldogs rabbiting, mate. See how fast the fuckers can move. But like, there's so many people go, "Oh, you don't need to walk a British Bulldog because they're lazy dogs." They're not. Most of them are fucking lazy owners, truth be told. And I love Weimaranas.
What's that?
Weimaraner, the fireman. They're like a cross between a blue Labrador and a pincer. If you Google a Weimaraner, they're fucking gorgeous animals. And look, before we got this dog, I was showing Tash pictures. I'm saying, but you've got to be up at 6 o'clock taking them out for a walk. Fucking, and I ain't that sort of dog owner, to be quite honest. But they're coming like a tan colour, and they'll come in that blue colour with blue eyes, man. They're fire. It's like a skinny Labrador stroke Doberman type fucking thing, but one colour. But they've got long. They haven't got stick up ears. They've got long dangly ears, man. But they're fucking wicked looking dogs.
Oh yeah. They're proper hunting dogs, aren't they? Yeah, they're proper hunting dogs. They are lovely though. But blue are like the proper big, massive white eye, and then the big blue. They're lovely then. Right, we've got to come up with a last question. I'm not going to ask that one. Because his Tash has just walked in, she fucking shouted background. It was, "Do you own a bicycle?" It was, "Do you own a bicycle?"
Do I own a bicycle?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still mint. It's as new condition. But I've been on it 2 more times, and Tasha's been on her brand new bike.
Right, so the last question is going to be, this is the last question. When eating a formal meal with multiple forks, do you start from the outside in or the inside out?
Oh.
Mate, I live in Birmingham. We've never been anywhere. I've never been anywhere that has more than 1 fucking fork to start off with.
Well, that's my questions for this week. That is my questions. We are coming to the end of the show, so we do the quick fire round because I love it. I love having little chats like that. So the last thing we do on every show is we do status of the week. I need to get this up because this is status of the year, as this is the year show. And I've spent probably 45 minutes this afternoon looking through Paul's statuses from January 2018 till this month. And let's just say I've had some fun reading these statuses, some proper fucking fun. And there was some I was going to read, and there's some I wasn't going to read. But I come across this status, and I'm not going to ask who the status is about, because I think I know who the status is about. But I think this call, we spoke about this maybe on a previous live as well. So I'm just going to grab up the status, because I sent it to myself to make sure I'd saved it. And the status is, I'm not saying she's a scruff. I'm just saying her slice probably looks like a pulled apart cold cheese toasty. That is the nastiest status ever. So
I don't even know. I don't know who that was about, actually. I'm not saying she's a scruff, but I'd imagine a fucking slice looks like a pulled apart cold cheese toasty.
Fucking anyone. Loads of people on your friends list that could have brought her.
There was
You my wife then.
Tell you. No, there was loads of statuses. Like I could have, you've done, to me personally, looking through your statuses, there was some really, really, really funny ones. And then I was reading through some, and there were some that were like, you literally were half a book you'd wrote, and they were proper like hashtag Paul's wisdom. And I could have read about, I'm telling you, I could have read a book full of them. And I saw them and I just thought, Paul does speak the wisdom, but Paul is not a person who just says something outlandish and just does not give 2 shits and just like, fuck it. And to me, that status was just like, you know what, fuck yourself. That's what that status read to me. So I could have read.
I can't. It's something about cold cheese toast in my book, so it might have just been having a bit of. Look, sometimes Tash will say to me, "Who's your status about?" And I'm like, honestly, no one. It's not. Look, I might have seen another status that reminded me about even an old status that I used on the 50 Shades page, or something like that. So they're not always. But I literally have had people inbox me going, "Mate, it's your status about me," and I'm like, "Nah, it's really not." But you should fucking get a grip of your life.
No, seriously, if you go onto your Facebook wall and search in statuses and go back through some of your statuses, I reckon you'd either cringe or be like, do you know what, these aren't too fucking bad, I might repost them, it's a year old. I swear to God, I spent 45 minutes looking through status going, do you know what, some of these are fucking proper on point. Like, I could relate to like some of them going back and thinking, do you know what, these are decent. So if anybody wants to laugh, go back through Paul's statuses for the last year, because you'll find some fucking crackers. On that note,
well, before we go, do you follow Write My Plate?
I don't know, but I've seen so many fucking spoofs about it.
So funny.
I've seen so many spoofs. The person I see do it most, as in the person I see comment on the most, is White Yardy. And he's always doing Rate My Plate with all these shitty fucking foods. I find his reactions to them are hilarious.
No, the actual page, Write My Plate's funny, man. Because there's people on there that have blatantly knocked up the worst plate of shit you can ever imagine just for shits and giggles. And there's other people that... No, but look, the people that comment on the page regularly, they must They must sit on there, and the minute a picture goes up, the first thing they do is zoom onto it and look everywhere. They're not even looking at the food, mate. Sometimes it's about something that's going on in the background that you can barely make out, but they've zoomed in 600 times. And they're like, what the fucking hell is this, Karen? You might see someone saying, oh, homemade fucking cod fillets, and you can see the Findus box on the side. It's about a mile and a half down out the way of the picture, but they've fucking super zoomed in on it. And
I've got to go on it. I've never actually. Is it a Facebook group?
yeah, it's a page. It's an actual like page. It's a Facebook page. It's the one with like 2 million likes on it or something. Man, it's a big page.
What, and the people just send them in, or they can actually post on it?
You can post on it, but obviously they get a shit reaction because it goes onto the fucking members post bit, which is not very prominent. So you inbox them to the admin, then the admin post it as Right My Plate, and then it'll say like sausage, chips and beans by Big Tom, and then people just start tearing you a new arsehole from the second it's landed on there. But I swear, some of the comments, mate, are fucking harsh, but properly harsh.
In the like thousands of comments on them, though.
Yeah, some of them will get like fucking 200,000 comments. Like some of them, like I don't know if you've seen Carol in eggs and stuff before.
I think I was just talking about it. Yeah,
it went super viral. Like, it was on the news and in the papers about this Right My Plate. But some of the comments on there are shot like proper next level. Even on like, oh, as if you type that, man, you fucking wrong.
Fucking hell. Right. Well, we're out of here. Thank you ever so much, everybody who watched on Facebook and YouTube. We'll be back next week. Paul, thank you for joining us. As always, you're a gent. We always get some good laughs out here, which is, I love coming back and every week doing it. So thank you very much. And I'm out of here with my foot. I'm going to have to go put my foot up and get up on some morphine. So I'm out of here.
People, thank you for watching. We will be back next Wednesday, God willing.
That's it. Speak to you all soon. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and make sure you share. Peace out on both screens.